Today, I'm going to see if I can beat Pokemon Platinum with only one Tentacool. I also won't be using any healing items in battles because that makes the game way too easy. So let's take a look at Tentacool. Water and Poison is a pretty good type combination, and while his stats are quite low, 70 speed is nice as we should have a level advantage for a lot of the game, so we should outspeed most enemy Pokemon. 100 special defense is nice, but it's a shame his HP is so low. 50 and 40 in attacking stats is also quite low, but considering we get choice specs in this game, as well as good special moves like Surf, Sludge Bomb, Ice Beam, and Giga Drain, I think we should be able to make it work. We can also get Poison Jab, Waterfall, and Return if we need any physical moves. By level up, we don't get any decent moves until Acid at 12 and Bubble Beam at 19. The latter will definitely need to get past the first gym. We get the TM for a turn straight away in this game, so grinding up to 19 shouldn't be too bad. We also get Poison Jab at 33 and Hydro Pump at 40. I've used the Universal Pokemon Randomizer to replace Chimchar with Tentacool. This gives our rival Piplup, which, at least when it's fully evolved, will be the hardest for us to fight. I decide to soft reset until I get one with the ability Clear Body, which prevents enemies from lowering our stats. We're going to have to rely on physical moves for a lot of this game, and there's a decent number of boss fights where enemies have Intimidate, so stopping them from lowering our attack should be really useful. I call him Boba, and he has a bold nature, which is more defense and less attack. That's actually a really good nature considering our physical defense is so much lower than our special, but lower physical attack is going to be annoying in the early game. I can see us having to rely on Return for quite a while. Speaking of Return, the first thing I do is teach him the TM and spend about 10 minutes running up and down. Return does damage based on friendship, and for most Pokemon, its power with your base friendship is only 28. I suppose it's better than Poison, Sting, and Constrict, but it should speed things up if we can boost our friendship before training. Grinding levels in the beginning is really slow. It takes multiple hits of Return to take out a level 2 Starly, but we'll need to be 19 to get Bubble Beam for the first gym, so I decide to power through for now and train up to level 12. At level 12, we learn Acid, which gives us a decent stab attack, and I start my journey. With Acid, all the early game trainers are pretty easy, but at level 12 we can't even one-shot a level 5 Starly, which is worrying. Bubble Beam really can't come soon enough. After clearing through the trainers and doing a bit more grinding, we're level 16 for the first rival fight, and it goes really well. We kill him in 3 hits and barely take any damage. I'm going to try to enjoy these easy rival fights while I can, because once Piplup is fully evolved, it's going to be Water and Steel, which is probably the worst type combination for us to fight. In the first gym, all the trainers have Geodude and Onix, which both 4 times resist poison, so they take 4 or 5 hits each to take down. We're close to 19 now, so I decide to just do a last little bit of grinding to get Bubble Beam before we fight Rock. With Bubble Beam, it's a complete one-shot sweep. I was a bit worried that Cranidos might be able to live one attack, but he probably couldn't do much damage back to us in return. With our level advantage, the next part of the game should hopefully be quite easy. Now that we have Bubble Beam, we can kill pretty much everything in one hit, so we get to Commander Mars with no issues. The first time around, we end up losing because Perogly gets a free hit in with Fake Out and does a lot of damage with Scratch, but I have a plan to get around this. Next time, I decide to set up a layer of Toxic Spikes against Zubat, so Perogly gets poisoned when she switches in. This lets us do a bit extra damage to Perogly, including on the first turn when we flinch from Fake Out. With the poison and an Orange Berry to live one more hit, we can survive with just 2 HP and take her down. Now that we've beat Mars, we can go to Eterna Forest and meet up with Cheryl. Whenever I do any challenge run in Platinum, I always like to do a bit of training here. We get healed up after every fight, so it's a good way to get some levels in before Gardenia, Jupiter, and Fantina. I'm not too worried about the first 2, but Fantina's Mismagius will probably give us issues with a high special defense and Psybeam. I train up from 23 to 28 and move on. So I'm thinking Gardenia should be pretty easy. Acid is super effective to Grottle and Cherim, and I don't think it'll one-hit KO them, but they probably can't do much damage to us. Leech Seed could be annoying, but I think it'll be a pretty quick fight, so hopefully won't be an issue. We'll have to use Return on Roserade because Acid isn't super effective, and she has much higher special defense than physical. Thankfully, she only has special attacks, so she shouldn't be able to hit us very hard. First up for Gardenia is Grottle. Or I guess I remembered it wrong and it's a Turtwig. That's actually a nice surprise as Turtwig goes down to 1 Acid. Then it's Cherim. An Acid does over half as she thankfully goes for Magical Leaf over Leech Seed. Another Acid takes her down. Next is Roserade. Return does less than half, which is worrying, but her first Stun Spore is healed by our Cherry Berry. Then we hit another Return, and this time the paralysis sticks, but thankfully we break through on the next turn. We take a small bit from Grass Knot and take her out with one more Return. The next major fight is Jupiter, who's quite easy. Zubat goes down in 1 hit, and we get a critical hit Bubble Beam against Skuntank, but we didn't need it. Night Slash doesn't do very much to us, and we can finish her off with one more Bubble Beam. On the way to Hot Home City, we reach 33 and learn Poison Jab, which replaces Acid. It's not useful for Fantina, but it's still nice. I'm thinking we'll be alright in the Ghost Gym. We're higher leveled than I thought we would be at this point, and despite our low HP, we can take special hits really well. I think our Duskull and Haunter should go down with one hit each, but Miss Magius can probably live a few and do good damage to us with Psybeam. In Hot Home City, we can pick up the Shell Bell, which is one of my favourite items in all of Pokemon. It lets you recover a little bit of health every time you do damage to an enemy. Hopefully with that and our great special defense, Miss Magius won't give us too many problems. Okay, time for Fantina. Duskull doesn't go down in one hit like I planned, but he just misses a Will-O-Wisp, so he goes down on turn 2. Next is Miss Magius. We outspeed, which is nice, but we only do about a third, and we get confused right away. We hit ourselves in confusion, and Psybeam does about a quarter. This could get dangerous, but thankfully, we managed to break through confusion enough times to take her out with half health remaining thanks to the Shell Bell. Haunter is last, but he's almost a one-hit kill, and he only has physical moves, so he's not an issue. After a bit of healing from Fantina, he goes down pretty fast. Now for the rival. We hit Staravia down to red health as he goes for a double team, and then he actually kills us with an Endeavour and a quick attack. Well, that was awful. Let's try again and hope he goes for something different. This time he just goes for a wing attack, so we take him out with no problem. Then he sends out Ponyta for some reason, who's obviously a one-shot. Prinplup hangs on from a poison jab, but he can't do much to us, so we beat him quite easily. Last is Roselia, who goes down in one hit. So we're on our way to Veilstone, and let's take a look at what we have coming up. The fighting gym should be fine. I'm a little bit worried about Lucario with Bone Rush, but it only has 80% accuracy, so we should be able to take her down in a few attempts. Then for the water gym, I'm not too worried about anyone except Quagsire, but he only has a special ground move, so I don't think he'll be doing too much damage. We can actually take on all the trainers on Route 214, 213, and 212 before fighting Maylene and Wake, so we should be able to get some good levels in before the gym fights. After the water gym, we can get Surf, Giga Drain, and the Choice Specs, so we should have an easy spell after we beat Wake. Also, on the way to Veilstone, we hit level 40 and learn Hydro Pump. In a challenge like this, where you can just reset when things go badly, inaccurate but strong moves like Hydro Pump can actually be really good. So now for the boss rush. Against Maylene, Meditite gets a critical hit fake out, which does a surprising amount of damage, but we take her out in one hit. Then it's Lucario. Hydro Pump almost kills him in one hit, but then he hits us with 5 hits of Bone Rush, one of them being a crit, so we go down. We got awful luck there, so let's just try again. This time, Meditite doesn't go down in one hit, but all she does is hit us with a weak Rock Tomb that doesn't even lower our speed thanks to Clear Body. Hydro Pump just misses the kill on Lucario again, but this time Bone Rush only hits twice, which means we can take her out with a Bubble Beam. Machoke is last, but he doesn't do much damage to us, so 2 Bubble Beams take him down. Before we take on Wake, we have another rival fight to do. Staravia hangs on from a Bubble Beam, but doesn't do much with a wing attack, so we can take him down. Then he once again sends out Ponyta next for some reason, who we take out in one hit. Then it's Prinplup. I'm really glad it's not an Empoleon yet, because with just water, poison, and normal moves, we would really struggle to take him down. Thankfully, Prinplup is pure water type, so a few poison jabs do the job. Last is Roselia, who goes down to 1 poison jab. Now it's time for Crash Awake. Poison jab does less damage than I was expecting to Gyarados, and his bites really hurt, but he goes down. Then it's Quagsire. I go for a turn, which doesn't do much, but then I remember that he doesn't have Water Absorb, so I take him down with a Hydro Pump with just 44 HP left. Poison Jab does less than half to Floatzel, and a Crunch takes us really low. Another Poison Jab won't get the kill, but we don't even get the chance, as he takes us down with an Aqua Jet. I think with a bit better luck and a new move, we can maybe win this. This time, we poison Gyarados on the first Poison Jab, and we use Protect on the second turn so he takes more poison damage. Then we Poison Jab again, but he lives and hits us one more time before going down to Poison. As for Quagsire, we can actually just one-shot him with a Hydro Pump. Now for Floatzel. I was hoping for a Poison on the first turn, but we don't get it. He hangs on from another Poison Jab and takes us down with 2 crunches. I think this fight is doable at level 50, but we'd have to get really lucky with always poisoning Gyarados and Floatzel on the first Poison Jab, as well as Hydro Pump not missing and never getting hit with a crit. I decide to do some training and come back at 55. This time, Poison Jab does about the same amount of damage to Gyarados, which goes to show how little physical attack we gain with each level. But we can take his bites a lot better, and we get the poison. I do my strategy of protecting to rack up poison damage, and then we can take him out with most of our health remaining. Quagsire goes down to Hydro Pump, and out comes Floatzel. Poison Jab does about half, and he heals with a Citrus Berry. Thankfully, Crunch does a lot less damage than last time, and we can take him out with a few more poison jabs. After all the training and the gym, I can finally buy a TM for Ice Beam, which I replace Protect with. Now we can make our way to Celestic Town. The first thing I do here is wait until the morning and get the choice specs. These are going to be so useful in some gym leader and Elite 4 fights where most of the time I'm only going to be using one move anyway. Now it's time to fight Cyrus, but he is so much easier here than he is at the end of the game. His Sneasel lives a poison jab but hardly hurts us with a slash, so we take him down. Then we can just outspeed and one-hit kill his Golbat and Murkrow with Ice Beams. Once we fight him in the Distortion World and he has a Gyarados with Earthquake, then he'll be an issue. With that done, Cynthia gives us Surf, which unlocks some really cool items for us. First, I go to Pastoria City and pick up a Mystic Water. Then I go to Route 209 and get the Giga Drain TM. It's not super effective, but this is going to be our best answer into our rival's Empoleon. Next, I go to the Floroma Meadow and pick up a Miracle Seed, which we can use to power up Giga Drain. That's pretty useful since it only has 60 power in this game. We're level 60 now, so let's take a look at our stats. Obviously, special defense is really nice, and our speed is too. I can't remember the last time we fought someone faster than us. 90 special attack is okay, but not as high as I'd hoped, and 63 physical attack is awful. As for moves, this is almost my final moveset. We can replace Poison Jab with Sludge Bomb after the 7th gym, but then I don't see us having to make any changes after that. I feel like we just did one, but it's time for another rival fight. First is Staraptor, who goes down to one Ice Beam. Then it's Rapidash, who obviously goes down to a Surf. Now for his newest team member, Heracross. He lives a Surf and does a lot of damage with a critical hit Night Slash, but another Surf takes him down. Next it's Empoleon. I try Giga Drain and we actually get a crit to take him down to half health. With recovery from Giga Drain and the Shell Bell, we heal back so much health, and he hardly hurts us with Aerial Ace. We go for another Giga Drain and we just get another crit to take him down. Well, that was lucky. It's really nice to know that Empoleon won't be a brick wall for us. Last is Roserade, who just goes down to one Ice Beam. Now for Byron, but he's just a one-shot sweep with Surf. I'm not even holding the choice specs here, by the way. Byron is just a really easy gym leader. Saturn and Mars are also one-shot sweeps with Surf. I did use the choice specs this time, but even if a few of their Pokemon lived, they couldn't do much anyway. So while I go through this annoying snowy area, let's take a look at what we have ahead. Candice could be a bit tricky with Frostlass having Snow Cloak and Double Team to make us miss and Psychic to hit us hard, but I don't see her being too difficult. Then it's Cyrus. We should be fine to beat him in Veilstone City, but I'm a bit worried about fighting him in the Distortion World. He'll have a Gyarados with Earthquake by that point, but I think I have a plan to get around that. Volcanus should hopefully be a one-shot sweep with Choice Spec Surf, but if he's not, he could do a lot of damage. Anyway, onto the Ice Gym. She starts with a Sneasel and we outspeed and go for a Surf, which just misses the kill as she goes for a Slash, which doesn't do too much. She heals up and I decide to go for a Giga Drain to get us back up to full health too. Then we take her out with a Surf. Piloswine is next, but she just goes down to another Surf. Thankfully Frostlass comes out before Abomasnow, which means Snow Cloak isn't activated, but a Surf takes her into the yellow as she sets up with a double team. We miss a Surf and she crits a Psychic, which takes us down to about half. Then we hit our next Surf, which takes her out. Last is Abomasnow. I go for Poison Jab, which does about 3/4, but then he goes for a really strong Wood Hammer, which would have definitely killed if it crit. But we get lucky, and after she heals, we can take her down with 2 more Poison Jabs. While I head through this Team Galactic base, I just want to ask anyone watching this what you think of the video. This is my first time doing a video like this, and I'd really appreciate any feedback. Anyway, back to the challenge. I pick up the TM for Sludge Bomb and carry on. We fight Cyrus here, but we have to fight him again when he's a lot harder in like 10 minutes, so let's just skip this fight. On Mount Coronet, this double battle with Mars and Jupiter has the potential to go bad, but let's see what happens. We start by going for a Surf, which does good damage to both Bronzors, but they set up a Light Screen and a Reflect. We also do less than half to Barry's Munchlax, who I want to kill ASAP because he's his worst team member by far. Another Surf takes out one Bronzor and leaves the other in the red, who thankfully takes out Munchlax with an extra sensory. Barry brings out Rapidash as a Sludge Bomb does about half to Perugly and Rapidash kills Bronzor. Now we need to fight Perugly and Skuntank at the same time, but thankfully, Skuntank only hits us with a Poison Jab. I go for Surf here to take down Perugly and do some damage to Skuntank as she hits us with a soft Night Slash. Barry thankfully goes for Brick Break here, which gets rid of Light Screen and Reflect, as well as doing good damage to Skuntank. I decide to Ice Beam Mars' Golbat to make the fight a 2-on-1 as Heracross lives a Flamethrower at like 1 HP and does some damage with Night Slash. I don't want to kill Heracross, so I go for an Ice Beam which leaves Skuntank on what must be like 2% health, but thankfully Barry's Staraptor takes her down with a quick attack. The last Golbat goes down to an Ice Beam and a Takedown. If we got hit with more slashes and night slashes, that could have gone bad, but we made it out alright. Cyrus has some really strong Pokemon, so this should be a challenge. He starts with Houndoom, who goes down to a Surf. Next is Honchkrow, who actually lives in Ice Beam and does really good damage with Drill Peck. We take him down with a few more Ice Beams, but this has me worried. Next is Gyarados, who takes less than 50% from a Sludge Bomb, but we get a lucky poison. He goes for an Earthquake and we somehow live with 8 hit points left, which I was not expecting. Another Sludge Bomb misses the kill and he takes us down. If we can't even kill Honchkrow in one hit, we don't stand a chance against the rest of his team. I come back at level 75 and this time we kill Honchkrow in one hit. Gyarados comes out and we get a lucky poison again with Sludge Bomb. An Earthquake takes us down from full health to about a third, but thankfully one more Sludge Bomb takes him down. Next is Weavile, who gets a bit of damage with Fake Out as a Surf does about 2/3 and lets him heal with his berry. A Night Slash takes us down to just 11 HP as we take him down with one more Surf. Last is Crobat, and unfortunately his base 130 speed is too much as he outspeeds and kills us with a Cross Poison. While that is really annoying, I think we can win this fight with just one small tweak, an item called a Shuka Berry. If you go to this lady in Pastoria City, she gives you berries which can be used to make super effective moves do a quarter of their normal damage. A Shuka Berry reduces super effective ground moves. So with this, we'll have a lot more health left after Earthquake, which should give us enough HP to take down the rest of his team. We're not going to have the Shell Bell for recovery, but I think this is the only way to do it without getting like 10 more levels. Alright, so Houndoom and Honchkrow are still one-shots, so let's fast forward to Gyarados. We actually get really lucky again and poison him with the first Sludge Bomb. He goes for Earthquake, and thanks to the Shuka Berry, we only take about a third. This puts us in a much better position for Weavile. He still goes for Fake Out, but we Surf, and he brings us down to 49 HP. One more Surf takes him down, and out comes Crobat. He goes for an Air Slash, which could flinch us, but we don't flinch. This lets us go for an Ice Beam and take him down. With that done, we can move on to the final gym, but it's really easy. Everyone goes down to a single Choice Spec Surf. I don't think I've ever had a hard fight against Volkner. While I go through Victory Road, let's take a look at my stats. 151 speed is really good. I don't see anyone outspeeding us in the Elite Four, except maybe some of the faster Pokemon towards the end, like Alakazam and Garchomp. 117 special attack is okay, but we'll be able to use the Choice Specs for a few of the fights to fix that. Also, our health and defenses are good enough that we can live a few hits, so I think we should be okay. I'm thinking Aaron, Bertha and Flint will be easy, but we'll probably struggle against Lucian and Cynthia. Before we go into the Elite Four, I pick up a Return TM from the Game Corner and the Poison Jab TM from Route 212. Not sure if I'll need them, but they're good to have as a backup. Before the Elite Four, we have one last fight with Barry. His Staraptor goes down to one Ice Beam, and then he brings out his newest team member, Snorlax. A Surf does about a third, as an Earthquake takes us down to half health. Thankfully, the next Surf crits, so we live. Next is Rapidash, who just gives us some free healing from the Shell Bell. Then it's Heracross, who lives a Surf in the yellow and hits us with a weak Night Slash. One more Surf takes him down. Now for Empoleon. I know Giga Drain plus Shell Bell can keep us healthy, but his Shadow Claw seems to be doing slightly more than we can heal. If Empoleon could learn Earthquake, or if Barry healed a few times, this could have gone south, but we stay healthy enough to take him down. Then it's just Roserade who goes down to an Ice Beam. Elite Four time. First is Aaron. We're holding a Shell Bell here, but I probably could have won with just Choice Spec Surf. It's a shame the first Elite Four member is almost always too low level to be a threat in these earlier games. I love how from Gen 5 onwards, you can take on the Elite Four in any order you want, and they all have the same levels. I'd love to do challenges like this in Gen 5. Maybe Pokemon Black with just a Pawniard? Right now I mainly have ideas for Gen 3 and 4 challenges, but I'll do Gen 5 one day. Okay, Bertha, another easy one. Everyone goes down in one hit. Gliscor has Sand Veil, which gives her boosted evasion in a Sandstorm. Hippowdon sets up Sand with his ability, so we could have missed against Gliscor, but we get lucky and hit. I think Water is probably the best type in all of Pokemon. Fairy type gives it some competition in the newer games, but in Gen 2 to 5, Water is definitely the best. Flint is next. Choice Spec Surf takes down all of his Pokemon in one hit. I don't think we even needed the Choice Specs to be honest. It would have been cool if strong trainers like the Elite Four had the berries that weaken super effective moves like a Pasho Berry for water moves. That would have stopped certain fights from being so easy, but unfortunately I think every single enemy in this game either doesn't have an item or just holds a Citrus Berry, which I think is a missed opportunity. This is where it gets real. Lucian's Pokemon can do huge damage to us if they get an attack off, so I've kept the choice specs on so we can hopefully overpower them. We crit a Surf for the one shot against Mr. Mime. Not sure if that crit was necessary or not. Next is Espeon, who we also crit. Also not sure if that was needed. Third is Alakazam. Surf takes him down to what must be 1 HP and a Psychic does over half. After he heals, we high roll our next Surf and take him down. Then it's Bronzong, who almost goes down to a Surf but lives in the red and takes us down with an Earthquake. I come back a few levels higher. This time we should be able to kill Alakazam in one hit. But without the crit, Espeon lives in the red and hits us hard with Psychic. We make it to Bronzong again, just for him to barely live and hit us hard with Earthquake. I won't bore you with all the details, but I tried this fight so many times, each time a few levels higher than the last, but even at 92, we can't kill Espeon in one hit. Finally, at level 96, we get somewhere. Mr. Mime, Espeon, Alakazam and Bronzong all go down in one hit each now. I really didn't think we'd have to be this high level for that. Last is Galactic, who lives a Surf on about 10%. He goes for a Psycho Cut, which does most of our health but thankfully doesn't crit, so we take him down with one more Surf. Alright, time for the final fight. Cynthia starts with a Spiritomb who goes down to a lucky critical hit Surf. He knows Psychic, but considering our level and our special defense, I don't think he would have done too much. Next is Garchomp, but we thankfully outspeed and take it down in one Ice Beam. I think even at level 100 we would have died to an Earthquake there. Third is Togekiss, who lives in Ice Beam because of his great special defense, but a Shockwave hardly does anything to us. Also, we have the Shell Bell again, so we can heal some health back. Next is Roserade, who unfortunately lives in Ice Beam, but she doesn't do too much to us with an extra sensory. After a full restore, 2 more Ice Beams take her down. Now it's Milotic, which has me worried. A Giga Drain does just under half and gets us to almost full health, but she goes for Mirror Coat, which doubles the damage taken from special moves, so it takes us down to only 53 HP. We hit her again, but I only have special moves, so another Mirror Coat takes us down. It's a shame not to win against Cynthia on the first try, but I have a plan. This time, we don't crit Spiritomb, so she hits us with Psychic, but we take it really well. The rest of the fight is the same as last time, so I'll quickly explain my new strategy. I've replaced Sludge Bomb with Poison Jab. We don't need Sludge Bomb for anything in this fight, and if we use a physical move, Milotic can hardly hurt us, since she has Surf, Ice Beam, Dragon Pulse and Mirror Coat. If we poison her with Poison Jab, she gets boosted defense thanks to her ability Marble Scale, so we might have to try again with Return, but let's see how it goes. Poison Jab does about as much as Giga Drain did, and we get the poison, but she goes for a Mirror Coat, so it's a free turn. Our next Poison Jab leaves her with about 10% left, as she hits a Dragon Pulse, which does hardly anything. I go for a Giga Drain here so I can regain health as she heals up. We still have Lucario to fight, so I need all the health I can get. Another Poison Jab takes her down to about 15% as she goes for another Mirror Coat, doing nothing. We take her down with one more Poison Jab. Now for Lucario. I can't remember if she has Earthquake or not, but a Surf almost takes her down in one hit. She goes for a Stone Edge, which hardly hurts us, and we can take her down with one more Surf. And that's it. I had so much fun doing this challenge. Tentacool and Tentacool are some of my favourite Pokemon, and they learn really good moves, so I always love using them. I know some of the visuals in this video have been a bit laggy, but I'm doing this all from my really cheap laptop while I save up some money for a PC. I'm thinking for my next challenge I'll do either Pokemon Ruby or Emerald with just a Sableye. Hopefully I'll have a better computer by then. Thanks to everyone who watched this, and I'll see you next time.